we'll move to resolution 090649, authorizing our budget for 0910. Mr. General Manager.
Thank you, Mr. President, board members. I'm not going to summarize anything on it. It's been described both by Beth earlier, and you've gone through elements of it. Only one element I'd like to be able to make clear is that the reductions that I talked about earlier that would come on November 29th, 2 to 3 minute changes that we're talking about, the dollar amount that those reductions reflect are reflected in this budget. The specifics of it aren't, and that's what we're going through the public process for. But I just want to make sure you all knew that the additional dollar reductions that we need to be able to achieve through that are reflected in this budget, and is that down 31 million from in terms of revenue. With that, we haven't answered any other questions.
I have a motion. Second. Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Resolution is approved. Resolution 090650, approving revisions to CAT. Mr. General Manager.
Thank you, Mr. President, board members. These are oftentimes considered just to be housekeeping issues, but there are a couple of items in the bylaws that even board member Williams might want to speak to. The most significant one is that we have had at times attendance problems at CAT, and one of the revisions that they recommended is that if there were more than 25% unexcused absences, it was grounds to be able to have the person at least considered to be replaced. And so that is probably the most significant of the bylaw changes. Others are just more housekeeping. They would urge your approval of these bylaw changes.
Okay, Mr. Williams, do you have a comment?
I would just say that CAT really, the CAT committee really did go over the bylaws and put in a lot of time and want to make sure that anyone that agrees to be on CAT will attend the meeting. So I would recommend, it comes with me with the motion to adopt.
Okay. I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Lynn? Do you have any comment to make?
No, sir.
Okay.
I'm in favor.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Resolution is approved. Resolution 090651, authorizing a contract with Ride Connection. Mr. General Manager.
I think many of you know that in the LIFT program, we could not do it all ourselves. We need to be able to have volunteer organizations, nonprofits, and Ride Connection is by far the most important. You see their vehicles around. Oftentimes for their operators, they actually have volunteer operators. We have historically been one of the bigger providers of grants to Ride Connection, though as the years have gone on, they have been very aggressive and very successful in achieving other funders, and our percentage, although dollar amount, we lost it.
Battery does. There it is.
Our dollar amount has not decreased in terms of the contribution, but our percent of their total budget has decreased, which really reflects their ability to be able to have other funding and to be able to provide services. They really do a terrific job. Elaine Wells is the executive director, the whole board, everybody. This resolution would authorize that continuation of that relationship with Ride Connection to be able to provide a number of different services, but for elderly and disabled programs. For your approval.
Okay, do I have a motion?
Second.
Second. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. Resolution is approved. Resolution 090652, authorizing a contract modification for marketing and advertising services. Mr. General Manager.
Thank you, Mr. President, board members. This is an existing contract. In fact, we would be operating within the limits of it, but for the fact that there were additional federal dollars that were able to be made available through the JARC, that is the Jobs Access and Reverse Commute Program grant funds. help develop work from the ID branding contract to be able to provide for additional information on for elderly disabled. So what this contract modification is really allows us to be able to take in the budget that those additional federal dollars that are being utilized. Had we known that at the time that they would be available, the contract would have been written accordingly. Was not the case, and these dollars have come in relatively recently over just a 2-year period. We would urge your approval.
Okay, motion. Second, discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? Resolution is approved. Resolution 090653, authorizing the contract for architectural services. Mr. General Manager.
Thank you, Mr. President, board members. There's been a lot of attention, both within the news media that we have discussed with you as well, the development of the concept of the new bridge in the Portland to Milwaukee light rail project. The initial work, just really the conceptual work, was done by through a contract we had with a firm out of Boston. Now we're moving into preliminary engineering and really taking the design level up to 30%. We went through a competitive process to find what we think is a very excellent architectural firm, and that is McDonald. I'm trying to be sure I got the full name. The McDonald Architects for these services. This contract will allow us to be able to acquire those services and to be able to proceed with the preliminary engineering phase of the development of the bridge model. With that, we urge your approval.
Okay, motion and second, discussion. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? None. We'll now move to the ordinances. We have 2 first readings. I'll open the public hearing. Mr. Blaker, we have no one who is asked to testify. What, did I miss one? Was that part? That was part of the consent agenda.
Oh, that's okay.
Right. Okay.
Ordinance number 307, an ordinance of the Tri-County Metropolitan Transportation District of Oregon updating the district boundary and amending TriMet Code Chapter 3.
Mr. President, although there's no action to be taken on this, this is what Board Member Williams noted earlier, and that is that there are a number of changes that get reflected. Yes, and this includes the changes around the 153 line. If you remember that when the 153 line an element was eliminated, and Board Member Williams on behalf of CAT indicated that we were, by doing that, the ADA boundary gets moved as well, but we are grandfathering in the current users within that area so they will still be able to be provided lift rides for their necessary trips. And that's a part of what this is.
How often do we engage in the process of reviewing boundaries and making changes? Just when necessary? Is that, there's no requirement to do it from time to time?
Well, when it's triggered like 153, and that's taken away, we'll do a boundary change or a withdrawal, like camping, sanding.
But only when necessary.
Or only.
No action required.
On this action. We'll move to ordinance 308.
Ordinance number 308, an ordinance of the Tri-County Metropolitan Transportation District of Oregon, TriMet updating employer universal annual pass program and other fair provisions and amending TriMet Code Chapter 19.
Okay. Again, no action. This is fairly household, just kind of housekeeping cleanup with a few slightly more important issues, but not significant here.
Any other issue to come before the board? We are adjourned.
Thank you.